2015, Omaha, Nebraska. A man and woman planned to rob the Security National Bank. They had weapons, had a getaway vehicle, had determined which bank to target, completed the basic preparation checklist for bank robbery. Everything seemed ready, except they forgot to plan for the most challenging obstacle they'd face that day. A simple piece of architecture with a handle, the front door. Security cameras captured the entire sequence. The man approached the bank entrance first, armed, determined, ready to commit a felony. He grabbed the handle and pushed. Nothing happened. He pushed harder, still closed, kept pushing with increasing force. This entrance refused to cooperate. He spent 8 full seconds pushing on that barrier. 8 seconds of continuous effort trying to force entry through architecture that rejected his chosen method. That's a long time when you're on camera struggling with basic building navigation. Eternity in security footage terms. This entrance had a sign. Large letters, right at eye level. The sign said, "Pull." Not small text, not hidden, just "pull," in clearly visible capital letters indicating the correct method for opening this particular barrier. The man either didn't see it, couldn't read it, or decided that pushing was the superior strategy despite what the instructions suggested. Really committed to his chosen approach. When you pick a method, stick with it even when it's obviously failing. Consistency over effectiveness. That's one way to approach life and crime. While he fought with the entrance, his accomplice walked up behind him. She assessed the situation, grabbed the handle, pulled. It opened immediately. She walked inside without any struggle. The mechanism worked perfectly when operated according to the instructions literally written on it. She then realized her partner wasn't following, turned around, saw him still outside, came back out to help. Had to physically assist an armed robber in understanding how doors function. That's not great team dynamics. Really wasn't how the robbery was supposed to start. Generally, you want to establish dominance before threatening people, not demonstrate confusion about basic entry mechanisms. Sets the wrong tone for intimidation. Think about this from the woman's perspective. You're about to commit a serious crime with your partner. Presumably, you've discussed the plan, maybe practiced, definitely talked about the risks. Then you arrive at the bank and discover your accomplice can't operate a door. Not a complicated security door, not a locked door, just a regular entrance with a handle and a sign. The robbery hasn't even started, and already there's a competence problem. That's the moment you reconsider your life choices, and maybe your choice in criminal associates. Once inside, they successfully robbed the bank, got the money, threatened the staff, executed the actual crime portion of their plan without major issues. The robbery worked. They were competent criminals once they got past the door. Which makes the entrance struggle even more notable. They could rob a bank, but couldn't read a sign. Different skill sets for different tasks. Some people are good at intimidation and theft, others are good at literacy and following basic instructions. These two had one but not the other. After obtaining the money, they exited through the same entrance, the one that caused so much trouble on entry. Except now the sign said, "Push to exit." Different instruction for the opposite direction. Fortunately for them, pushing was already their preferred method. They escaped without struggling with the exit. At least they were consistent in their approach to door operation. If you're going to have a signature move, might as well use it when it finally works. They ran to their getaway vehicle, a silver Ford Escape, drove away from the scene. The robbery was complete, money acquired, no injuries, clean exit except for the entrance incident. Everything seemed successful. Then police found the Ford Escape. Turned out the vehicle was stolen. So they stole a car to use for robbing a bank, then abandoned the stolen car after the robbery. Multi-layered criminal enterprise. Really efficient use of someone else's property. Took it for one crime, left it after another crime. The car owner probably had questions about that day's events. Probably had many questions. The security footage became evidence. 8 seconds of a man pushing on a pull door, his accomplice entering easily, coming back to help him. Then the actual robbery. Then the exit. All captured in high definition for investigators to review. Usually security cameras catch criminals committing crimes. This one caught the preparation phase, where criminal couldn't operate doors. That footage probably got shown at police training sessions. Here's what criminals look like before they figure out basic entry procedures. The 8-second struggle is what made this memorable. That's not a brief moment of confusion. That's sustained effort in the wrong direction. 1 second of pushing before reading the sign is understandable. 2 seconds is forgivable. 8 seconds is commitment to failure. That's choosing to push harder instead of reading. Deciding that force will overcome clearly posted instructions. The door won that battle. The door always wins when you ignore the instructions written on it. The accomplice having to return and help adds another layer. She successfully entered, completed the task, then had to go back outside to rescue her partner from door-related difficulties. Imagine explaining that to other criminals later. How'd the robbery go? Great, except I had to teach my partner how doors work. Not exactly the criminal reputation you want. Usually the story involves clever planning or close calls with police, not remedial door operation training in front of security cameras. The PIL sign visibility matters here. This wasn't a subtle hint, not a small sticker. Large letters at eye level, impossible to miss if you looked at the door, which suggests he never looked at the door. Just grabbed the handle and pushed. Decided that pushing was the universal solution to all doors everywhere. When you have a hammer, everything looks like a nail. When you have hands, apparently every door looks like it needs pushing. Smoke. Darkest anybody out there, and finally sex it. Banks typically have good security cameras, high resolution, multiple angles, timestamps, everything needed for evidence. The Security National Bank cameras provided perfect documentation of the door struggle. Clear footage showing the man pushing repeatedly, the sign saying pull, visible in frame, his partner entering easily, her return to assist. All preserved forever as evidence of what happens when you don't read signs before committing felonies. The Ford escape detail adds comedy. They successfully robbed the bank. The hard part. The part that gets you serious prison time. Then investigators found their getaway vehicle immediately because it was stolen and registered as such. Stole a car, used it for robbery, left it behind. The stolen vehicle charge probably seemed minor compared to armed robbery, but it demonstrated consistent decision-making. If you're going to commit crimes, apparently commit multiple crimes using other people's property. Police probably had easy time identifying them. Security footage showing their faces during the extended door struggle, the stolen vehicle registration, witness statements, evidence from the robbery itself. Everything an investigation needs handed to them through a series of poor decisions starting with that door. If they'd successfully entered on the first try, they might have less identifiable footage. But 8 seconds of confused door pushing meant crystal clear images of someone who definitely needed help with basic tasks. The story spread through law enforcement and media. Bank robbers can't open door is inherently funny. Add in the specific details about pull signs and 8 seconds of struggle, and you have perfect comedy. Except it's real. These people really pushed on a pull door for 8 seconds while planning to rob a bank, then successfully robbed the bank, then used a stolen car, then got caught because of all the evidence they provided, including extended door confusion footage. The lesson here is straightforward. Read signs, especially before committing crimes. Those signs exist for people exactly like this man. People who think all doors open the same way regardless of posted instructions. If you're going to break laws, at least follow building codes. One is necessary for entry, the other is necessary for not going to prison. Different types of rules, both important. The woman probably reconsidered her choice in criminal partners after this. You plan a bank robbery together. The stakes are high. Prison time is real. Then you discover your accomplice can't read basic signs or open doors without assistance. That's valuable information about someone's attention to detail. If they can't handle a clearly marked door, what else might they struggle with? Probably should have done more vetting before committing felonies to get. That's the defining moment. Not the actual crime. Not the escape. Just a man versus an entrance and 8 seconds of failure to communicate. The barrier had clear instructions. The man had other ideas. Basic architecture 1.